I said, I'm not even gonna mess. It's gonna be nothing but a mess, the headache, people be off the road up there and everything else. I said, just sit right here and be patient. It is what it is. Yeah.
You gotta pull out your selectors card to get up ahead.
I tried, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I said, yeah, I see Heath, but he was on the other end. He was down here. That's all right. I got to harass him for 10 minutes or so it was, it's all right. Worth it.
I was going to say, he's going to need longer arms soon. That's it?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
I can still see a deer come on there.
Jesse, did you turn on the All right, I've got 5 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order today, Monday, March 3rd, 2025. Roll call, we have Selectman Howdy Goodwin, Eric Eaton, Kevin Buck, and myself, Jamie Thurlow, Town Manager Jesse Dunbar, and Town Clerk Sarah Abbott. And Mackenzie has called out sick tonight.
I make a motion to excuse Mackenzie Jewett from tonight's meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to excuse Mackenzie from tonight's meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, adoption of agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to change on the agenda? Approval of minutes. We have the minutes from February 24th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of Monday, February 24th, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from Monday, February 24th, 2025. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, warrants. First warrant we have is warrant 89 for $16,297.55. Warrant 90 for $327.07. And warrant 91 for $18,117.22.
I make a motion to approve warrants 89 through 91.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve warrants 89 through 91. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All right, next we have committee appointments. We have the Southwest Harbor Tremont EMS Planning Committee. The first thing we have is the at-large seat for a Tremont resident, and we have 2 applicants, Ben Harper and Larry Albee. I don't see either one of them here, so. I think they're both extremely good people to do the job, so it's a very hard decision when I saw the pair of them.
Yeah. Neither one of them could qualify for part of the ambulance service.
No.
Yeah. No, so Ben had said that he was involved.
Yeah. I know Ben's done
A lot for the.
a lot of, with the dispatch and everything, and Larry's done, that was way before my time, but he used to work on the ambulance service.
30 years.
Yeah.
Service and ambulance service.
Yeah.
In those days.
Yep, no, so it's a very hard decision. I don't wanna make it.
I'll make a motion to approve Ben Harper as Tremont resident seat on the EMS Planning Committee expiring June 30th, 2028.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Ben Harper to the at-large seat for Tremont resident on the EMS Planning Committee, term expiring June 30th, 2028. Is there any discussion?
You know, the only thing I can think of, are the meetings going to be live? Or, I know Ben was having some trouble with Zoom meetings.
We
wasn't he?
haven't determined, I believe they'll be in person, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing, I know Ben had a lot of trouble with, I can't remember what committee he was on, but.
I think we're supposed to have all in-person meetings at this point anyway, aren't
Okay,
we?
yeah, well, that's solved the problem, yeah.
Yeah. in Tremont, we are supposed to, yeah.
Not an issue then.
Okay. No more discussion? All those in favor? And again, please thank Larry for applying for that, because I think either one of them, both of them would be great. They'd be very good for the spot.
One thing I just thought of, we can put it on a future agenda, is there's still a vacant seat on the Public Safety Building Committee.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a planning board seat, but nobody from the planning board is filling it or has a desire to fill it. So if you want to discuss amending it, maybe Larry would have interest in that as well. Just,
Yeah. No, I think that would be great to have. I think it'd be you'd be a huge help. You want us to do anything now, Jesse, or just?
no.
Okay.
No.
How are the bylaws written if we don't get another ambulance service member? Can we fill it with another at-large position?
There will be two, we're just appointing one, and Southwick's just gonna appoint one.
Oh,
All right. Next, we have one Southwest Harbor Tremont ambulance service member to the same committee. And we have Andy Klein, Kristen Hutchins, and Bonnie Norwood. But how exactly does this work, Jesse? We choose one and Southwest chooses one? Or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But do they choose from the same three that we do?
We'll
Or?
tell them the one we appoint.
Okay, I just didn't know if there was
Yeah.
6 and we were supposed to.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Just making sure. Sure I had it correct. I see 2 of them are here if anybody has any questions.
Which one of you wants to do it more?
You know, you're the president, you speak.
Well, our suggestion to Jesse and Karen Rederson was that the committee would probably be well-served to have one person who's pretty familiar with the finances and one person who's pretty familiar with operations. And so we came up with 4 initially. Dave Ashworth and I have pretty well been in charge of finances. And Kristen and Bonnie are both on the board, but they're also members of the crew. So they would be in a position to know about operations better than Dave or I. Dave has since decided that he prefers not to be on the committee for managing his health and other responsibilities. So if you want somebody who's familiar with the finances, you probably want me. And if you want somebody to pick somebody who's familiar with operations, then I would recommend between Kristen and Bonnie.
Yes, Kristen.
Can I just say too, Bonnie and I have talked it over at some length. Bonnie has been a member of the service for much longer than I have, and she's an advanced EMT. But I recently have taken over her job as secretary, as well as being the crew chief and the chair of the ambulance operating committee. I'm perhaps a little more familiar with globally with operations, because I've got my hand in a lot of things to operate the service, plus I drive for them. Bonnie and I have talked over back and forth. She and I have a very close relationship, and I invited her to come tonight, but she said, I probably won't make it. And she and I both feel the same, that either one of us is willing to do it. Both of us are sufficiently busy in it. We would be unhappy if the other one was chosen. So there you have it. We both feel passionate about the service, obviously. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So you guys can make up your mind. Or you can just choose Andy and kick the can down the road.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
That sounds better. I like
Yeah, that works.
So if we didn't pick one of you, Southwest could pick one of you, is that true?
I think that's what the
Okay.
town manager decided. You guys pick one. But it's our recommendation that you choose one from each expertise area.
Yeah.
Right, so if we do Andy, then that forces
Make sure
Southwest
that
to
happens.
Yeah.
make that happen.
And that's not an unreasonable way to go.
Yes.
They're very familiar with Kristen and Bonnie.
Yeah, they're gonna make they're gonna be in the same position that we are.
Mhm.
We'll make it.
We'll tell them you ducked the issue.
Yeah.
Please do. I motion to appoint Andy Klein to the Southwest Harbor Tremont Ambulance Service seat on the EMS Planning Committee, expiring June 30th, 2028.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Andy Klein to the Southwest Harbor Tremont Ambulance Service seat on the EMS Planning Committee with term expiring June 30th, 2028. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? And again, thank you for everybody for applying. It's great to see such a good group of people that are willing to give up their time to lend their expertise into this. All right, next we have regular business. First thing we have is the FY26 budget prep. And that is, the first one is fire department request. Everybody has a copy in their folder. Also, we have multiple people from the fire department here to answer any questions you may have. See, the day-to-day stuff, Keith, is pretty much the same. You know, there's not a ton of increase on the regular.
No, I think it came in around 3.5%, but
Yep.
our vendors, our testing companies, post-testing, all those things have creeped up a little bit, so
Mhm.
had to make some adjustments. The only one that really jumped up was, we were fortunate that our dispatch contract, they had like 8 or 10% were $8,000 to $10,000 forever. And then in this last, new administration, it jumped to 20, and then over the last 3 years, it's gone up. This year, it went up again to 10.5%.
Mhm.
I'm sure right there. I know they had extra costs for dispatching, but I thought they factored that into the law enforcement. But either way, it's not a huge amount of money. It's jumped up, 11, 12 hundred. Our treasurer, Jim Frost here, I think the rest of you, he is the president of the board of directors, so.
Obviously, the only huge change that you see is the request for the truck. You know, that's the big,
Yeah.
that's as a, or is that a kind of a separate?
So we did it as a separate line
Yeah.
item, that's not included in our budget request.
Yeah, I can see that,
Because,
yeah.
we've been talking about it the last 3-4 years.
Mhm.
Originally, when we first made the initiative to swap it or upgrade it, they were talking like 54,000 and 28,000, so it was a real small margin. And then there was some conversation back and forth over who owned it, who bought it, and it's since, the truck's gone up 10 grand and the value of our truck's gone 7 grand, so we're even further apart. So the likelihood of us being able to do it in donations, has become further apart, but also one of the selectmen had expressed concern of having all the vehicles owned by the town, so there's less confusion about the title ownership and
Yep.
insurances and that thing, but the fire, we have maybe 6 or 8 members of the community that donate money to the fire department each year. It used to be a lot more, but with tax structures, it's not the incentive for people to send money. And we also haven't been trying to put out letters requesting donations, because we don't want to compete with our friends in the back of the room either that have a really great campaign to replace the ambulance. So
Yep.
still saving the town money, but instead of them splitting it up amongst different organizations, we try not to compete with the ambulance service. But, we used to do our own fundraising. I don't know if you guys remember the auctions we used to have, and lobster baits on seawall.
I remember, yeah.
But it seemed like every meeting we went to, we were planning our next fundraiser. And at the time, Rich Houston, who's one of the town managers that lived on Boathouse, Richmond. He suggested that you guys are spending half your meetings on fundraisers, you need more training, more than, so that's when our budget went, increased significantly when we stopped getting so many donations. That was many years ago.
Yep. No, the budget looks good to me. I think the, just the truck is gonna be harder to, I know Jesse's gonna throw stuff at us. We get, we're trying to put as much as we can into the safety building this year.
Yeah, yeah.
And trying to get that, like, you know, really give it a good jump start.
So
And-
what we did last time was we purchased a truck under a Ford leasing program, and we
Mhm.
owned it for $1 at the end. So we structured it over $7,000 payments
Yep.
instead of one big payment.
Yeah.
So I,
Yep.
the other thing we weren't sure, that Ford does have a leasing program, there's no extra cost, it's just someone has to pay the bill one time a year.
Yeah.
So that's one, and that was,
It's, you know, specifically a municipal lease program.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's still there, but it was about 7,000 a year that we paid in one.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that would be much easier to swallow, you know, than all of it, yep. What do you guys think?
I think we should look into the leasing thing, and if they still have it, then that's, yeah, let's do it. As you guys know, all the other budget stuff is killing us this year, so.
Yeah, we've had, oh, go ahead.
One of the reasons we got the truck is we didn't get crew cab fire trucks like Southwest and some of the others do. And there's members that can't drive, they don't want driving a fire truck, they don't feel comfortable. But also during storms, we can keep that $60,000 truck on the road instead of a $400,000 truck for traffic control and stuff. It really saves on our equipment and, you know, definitely saves on your truck.
Yep.
To have something, you know, expendable.
Yeah, just to add to that, one reason we decided to go away from the truck we currently have is the newer trucks have, sensors, backup sensors. This one doesn't have a camera, rear backup camera, it doesn't have 360 lights. We're not looking for a really fancy decked out truck, but, the other thing, it doesn't have the camper package, and we wanna put a drop-in body, utility body in the back that weighs a significant amount with gear and brake and glove box that is not set up for a camper type style thing, so, but, yeah, and what we're thinking is with the ambulance service, we did 21 times this year, we assisted with, lift assist, and 6 or 8 times we listened to CPR and overdose. So we wanna have it set up more for, more of a first responder type truck to go
Yeah.
and assist with them, to have that instead of taking our own personal vehicles, so kind of shifting what the truck's use would be primary.
No, I totally get it, and like,
I like the idea of
Yeah.
it for sure.
like Eric said, we've got so much this year, it's just, yeah, it would help if there was a leasing option, because we're, obviously, the ambulance service stuff, we're trying to pre-plan for that a little bit, and the safety building, and everything's piling on to once, so, yeah, that would, if you guys wanna look into that, that would be a huge help.
The guy from Darlings came to Darlings, drawing a blank, but he called it something different than the municipal leasing, but there's leasing programs
Mhm.
for still available.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is that the only truck that the town doesn't own, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, at the time, we'd asked for $500,000 in 2012 to buy pickup trucks, to buy 2 new trucks, a main pumper and a large Class A. And, we told them this is what we have, what can you give us for that amount? And then, we ended up, there was the option of extended cabs or dual cab trucks, and we were like, geez, for what the extra cost of the chassis was, we could get these just regular cab, non-custom, commercial chassis trucks. So it was considerable savings to the town, but at the time, the town had very little reserves, and we didn't want to break the bank, so we utilized selling our other truck, and we bought it out of pocket with donations. And at the time, it wasn't most ideal, but it was something we identified that we needed to at least now have a boat, and we've since bought it side by side, and that hope was gonna wait through the tow. So, but
All you need now is a dirt bike.
Snowmobile,
snowmobile.
Actually, we need a landing craft.
Yeah, I can help you out with that.
Yes, Kristen?
I don't know if this is helpful or not, probably, Keith and Eve know more about this than I do, but I read an article recently that said the lead time for buying new vehicles can be quite significant, and the rate where they're going is probably gonna be quicker, but we ordered an ambulance and we don't expect delivery for 2 years.
Wow, yeah.
And it's certainly there's custom bits that add to that. So I don't know if getting a leased vehicle maybe shortens that time or not, but it's something to be concerned about.
Yep.
Well, the good thing is it doesn't have to meet fire. It's not an
Yep.
NFPA chassis, so it's just a commercial truck, so we should be able to get something off the lot.
It's gonna be more the body that goes into it, like he's
Yeah,
explaining, that
so
would be
like
the.
Kristen talked about, we had E1 come down and show us a truck,
Mhm.
and with a, commercial made type 4 fire truck,
Mhm.
and K&T, and they were talking 225.
Wow.
That's not, that's.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
pickup truck with a utility
Yeah,
box,
Yeah.
it's like,
And again, like you're saying, 2 or 3 year lead time to get it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, it just doesn't make sense, all aluminum body, pull out doors and everything else, but if the, Icon drop-in body, we're talking is like 16 grand, so with lights and roll-out doors, so if you buy a standard chassis, then it's everything, you drop that in,
Mhm.
and just keep moving into the next truck, but, yeah, lead times, and when, as soon as you put a fire truck on the side of something, then the price doubles.
Yep.
Are you going for, I don't know if there's still 2025s kicking around, if that would be an interest, just because, 24s, sorry, but,
Yeah, you know how we got the last truck is Ashland bought 12 trucks off Whited, and we jumped in, or 10 of them, we jumped in and bought the same truck, stripped truck that Ashland buying, and that's how we bought it for $31,900.
yeah.
Wow.
That, that's unheard of now. But yeah, we're not set on a stick. The truck last time, we looked for the best we left.
Yeah, I think there's still some 24s kicking around, and they're like 10 grand cheaper usually,
Yeah.
so that's quite a bit of savings, and it's still a brand new truck, so.
So that 64 we were quoted was $7 grand off MSRP, so it's a white truck and it's the long bag semi cab, they're pretty much run of the mill, it's not special.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we saved quite a bit on that Ram that we got, the one from Park there. That was the end of, I don't think there were many 24s left at that point, but it was significant savings, so.
It was $3,000-4,000 to add cameras to this pickup, so,
Yeah,
why bother, get one that has one in it.
yeah.
If you're gonna bring back leasing info, we just need the annual cost for the budget before the meeting on the 17th. And then we need whatever language we need to put in the warrant, because that has to be a separate warrant article to lease the truck. So I just need that prior to the 24th, so to know what that.
Probably the same language we had in the 2013.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, 'cause it was.
But
yeah.
I don't recall if it said who and what. but-
Yeah.
And will they have to get 3 prices like we do sometimes? I was just thinking of that as well, where it's, I know it's a pain, but.
I mean, you can waive that for just cause, but I'll look and see.
Okay. All right, so everybody in agreement to have them look into the truck a little bit more. We'll talk about it next meeting.
Yeah.
And we'll just do the regular fire department budget for now. Okay, sounds good.
So you want the regular budget now, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion to tentatively, accept the budget request of the Tremont Volunteer Fire Department for $150,668.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to tentatively accept the budget request of the Tremont Volunteer Fire Department for $150,668. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, perfect, thanks. All right, next we have LY management. Same thing every year. Yep,
Same,
we don't wanna lease it out.
we're not, they wouldn't let us at this point anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, but we have to, it was explained that we have to maintain our rights or they'll revert back to the state without the aim for our.
Mm-hmm.
I make a motion to direct the town manager to advise the Maine Department of Marine Resources that the Tremont Select Board have voted that for calendar year 2023, is that right?
Sorry, 5.
25. I was wondering if fiscal calendars confuse me sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Seal Cove Brook shall be closed to recreational fishing for river herring, and that the town will not lease its river herring rights.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to direct the town manager to advise the Maine Department of Marine Resources that the town of Tremont Select Board has voted that for calendar year 2025, Seal Cove Brook shall be closed to recreational fishing for river herring, and that the town will not lease its river herring rights. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, next we have dedication of town report. We're back here again.
I got nothing.
How about a memoriam for Teresa Hopkins and Jimmy Crow?
Yeah.
I agree. Do we want to add any more that?
Don't do a, keep.
Jesse, did you mention Bill Myers' suggestion?
Yeah, I mentioned it for last meeting.
For another board?
Okay, yep.
The,
Z.
58 years of fire department. So
Oh, really? 58? Wow.
Oh.
We could do a dedication to Dudley if you wanted to, and then do
A memoriam.
a separate memoriam for, for Jimmy Thurston and Teresa.
Porter, is this Porter, Dudley Porter, correct?
Or-
Or,
Warrior?
Oh,
Motion to dedicate the 2024 town report to Dudley Warrior.
Warrior.
With
a P. Starts with
Warrior.
Warrior.
Gotcha.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to dedicate the 2024 town report to Dudley Portier. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Do you want to do a memoriam too?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you
Yeah.
wanna make a motion for a memoriam?
Yeah, make a motion to also have a memoriam in the town report for Jimmy Thurston and Teresa Hopkins.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to also have a memoriam in the town report for Jimmy Thurston and Teresa Hopkins. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All right. Next is the budget. Jesse, this is all you.
So, you have your first draft of the FY '26 budget in front of you. As I mentioned in the memo, your binder currently does not include some of the initial intro pages that are usually there with the graphs and charts, and then giving an overview of the budget. Due to the fact we know the school number is likely to change, And it goes into details about what the differences are and percentages and things, so, in the interest of not retyping it several times, I'll put that in, the more finalized version. In general, right now, as it sits, the school budget, as you saw before, is up 11.4%. They're coming back to you on the 17th. It sounds as though that number is going to go down some, but I haven't heard exactly what that number is yet. And the high school budget is up 5.1%. County is up 9.5%. And the towns is up 11.3%. Right now, that brings the combined increase to 8.3%. Or $192 difference on a home assessed at $250,000. One thing that's not in your revenues yet is the use of surplus funds. Each year for the last 4 or 5 years, you've used some amount from the surplus fund to reduce the tax burden. Somewhere over 100,000. Last year was 155. The year before that was 129. Right now, I have 0 in there, waiting for your indication which direction you would like to go with it. As a whole, property taxes needed for the municipal budget are up 166,000. So any amount that you want to use from surplus, if you're using over 100 or 100 like you have before, will drastically reduce that increase. We have the initial numbers back from the FY24 audit. The goal of the FY24 budget, the use of the surplus funds, is to reduce the fund balance by 129,000. After that reduction, we're still adding 204,000 to the surplus fund.
So last year, we're adding, I just want to make
Yep.
notes here, so we added 204.
Yep, you do have a couple encumbrances to come out of that. You previously encumbered 38,000 that the auditors have to take out, and that includes the 50,000 from, it's on your next agenda item, from Versant that you had talked about putting into the public safety.
Yep.
So it'll go down by that.
Take out 38,000 for that, okay.
Yeah. So still an increase. We also project with the change in interest rates for FY25, that will most likely be increasing the fund at the end of FY25, since the interest rates are estimated 160,000 more than what was budgeted for that fiscal year. So we're in pretty good shape there with the surplus and the use of it.
What are we making roughly a year on interest, and then what should we be?
Roughly 170.
170,
Ish.
okay.
We'll obviously know better at the end because it fluctuates with the cash flow from
Yep.
taxes and paying bills. The sheet in your packet that goes over the $5,000 increases, I'll go through that if you want. As a reminder, it shows the amount and the difference and whether or not it's an optional budget item. The first sheet is your revenues. So we're projecting motor vehicle excise tax to increase 54,000. We always budget the next fiscal year based on the year-to-date receipts for the current fiscal year. use of the unallocated fund balance, you can see currently is sitting at 0. Transfer in from revenue sharing, based on year-to-date receipts averaged over the last 3 years, is an increase of 18,000. That, a comment on that, just because I know in the past you had asked about the revenue sharing, because our current year is trending down a little. However, the transfer in of revenue sharing comes out of a reserve account that all goes into, so if we budget 104, we will be transferring 104, and just make trend downward in what goes back into reserve. On the expenditures side, first one is deputy clerk / admin assistant. Difference year to year is 49,918. That is the addition of a full-time admin assistant deputy clerk last October, so it was not in the initial FY24 budget. I have listed this as optional basically because this line also includes the part-time help in the office, so if you wanted to or needed to, we could look at the part-time schedule for that position. Code enforcement officer is actually down 9,000, even though we added a full-time code officer, but that's because it initially was 2 positions last year, with the deputy and the part-time CEO. Election workers are down just over 5,000. The clerk and I took another look at the budget schedule and what's required, and found that it seemed to be overestimated the number of hours and people needed to run the election, so we've adjusted that. Attorney's fees is an increase of 8,700. It's based off the average of the last 3 years. We do have 2 pending court cases for land use and one that just went through the appeals board that may or may not go to court. So I don't anticipate it to drop. Family medical leave is an increase of 58.85. This is the new state program that started mid-year through FY25. So the increase is because last year was half a year and this year's the full year. That's required to be paid based on a percentage of the salaries payroll paid sent into the state. Health insurance is an increase of 35,158, and that is based on the rate increase for FY26 as well as the full-time code officer. Social Security increased just above 5,000 due to the change in staffing. Retirement 8,484 due to change in staffing and increase in wages. Cleaning contract is an increase of 7,120.
So why is that so big?
The cleaning contract?
Yeah.
That's the annual cost of the vendor that's cleaning the town office. It was not originally included in last year's budget. We had a change from a janitor that was on staff that left, so now Service cleans the office.
And that's still pretty reasonable, really, for, I mean,
For the year, yeah.
Yeah.
$9,000 to clean. How many times a week do they clean?
Once a week.
Once a week. Oh, okay.
Both levels.
Mhm.
Fire department, you just discussed, is an increase of 6,608. The Southwest Harbor Tremont Ambulance Service was an increase of 41,000 this year. Harbor House, which you previously reviewed, was an increase of 65,98. EMR solid waste fees based off tonnage calculations and rate changes is an increase of 35,136. Coinciding with that, the MRC tipping fees based off the same is an increase of 24,493. Town truck reserve, I lowered this year's request by 20,000 due to, I think the balance is sufficient. I don't think we're at the moment looking at purchasing a large truck. I think honestly, if and when we do, we may look at borrowing for that, just because the prices have gone up so much. But right now, we're in pretty good shape with the ones we have, and any changes or modifications that we discuss would be paid for out of that fund without causing too much of a decrease in it. The senior tax rebate, last year, that reserve was established at town meeting with $55,000. We used 19,832 processing the rebates. So right now, I have in the budget to replace that 19,832. You can reduce that if you want. There's obviously still a balance of 30-some thousand in there. I anticipate that we will increase applicants from last year being the first year. I know there's some people that didn't realize that may apply this year, as well as people that were not that age last year who will now be eligible this year. And the library, which you previously reviewed, was an increase of 18,687. Any questions on any of those?
Sarah, you're part of the library, right?
I'm part of the library.
You are. Can you just remind me, there was fence, groundwork out back, and then being open another day and that was more staffing, or?
Okay, I don't have the numbers on the top of my head, but,
Yeah, it was, I can remember, it was a fence.
it was fence, it was, evening out,
Mhm.
the yard out back, and the yard on the side. We wanna put in a fire alarm system, which apparently the library does not have.
That's pretty important.
Well, we thought so. We also found out we have a picture that's worth something, so.
Sell it.
It's art, libraries display art.
Yeah.
Sell it. I'll paint you a new picture.
Thank you, that offer. Yeah, so there was a lot of building related things. That was most of our increases. And there were a couple new services we were offering. We were going to offer people the ability to check out online books, which we haven't offered before, but we've had people asking for it. We thought we'd try to respond to community requests. And I think also included in there was having library cards for people who've never had library cards before. And so we were going to get a system that will help us better manage the books.
If I recall, the fence was like the biggest item.
Probably.
And the
I
groundwork.
don't recall what the biggest detail was.
But I seem to remember something about
Yeah, I think the
being
fence
open
was the
another
biggest.
day, and that was a big cost.
We have more staff, and I believe we are open another day because of that. So we're only closed on Sunday and Monday now, we used to be closed another day.
Just trying to look at everything again,
Yes,
big
I
pictures.
understand.
Big pictures in front of us now, so.
Yes.
And I know the solid waste is up and everything, but there's nothing we can do about that. I mean, that's just due to more properties, would it be, Jesse, that are qualified to use up their tonnage?
I mean, it could be, or people are just increasing
Oh.
their trash collection.
Yep, okay.
Actually, we had a meeting recently, they're trying to do a farmer's market, community market.
Yeah.
And working on composting, and a
Mhm.
lot of that weight is compost, or compostable, and we're actually gonna look and come forward with some information in another meeting or two, just to update everyone on what's going on and maybe suggest doing a town composting.
Yep.
And that will actually probably draw that number down a lot, if it works.
We were up, we usually are averaged and our numbers are based off 900 tons of
Mhm.
trash. But this year, the new update from MRC was that the prior year we had 1,000 tons, so 100 tons more.
Well, yes.
Heath just meant, I think one of the needs for tonnage is we shut off burn permits for a considerable amount of time in the spring because of the
Mhm.
dry. And then a lot of people
Oh, there isn't one for the other towns?
Well,
Or
I don't
Southwest?
know. I only see people from
Southwest.
every town putting it in the Tremont Fire Board did. Maybe it doesn't cost a lot, and it's good to get it out of the, it's like,
It's too bad to see everything just going into the landfill now,
Yeah.
because that's pretty much where everything
Yeah.
goes. It just gets trucked, and construction debris is the same as regular trash, just gets thrown in the pile now, no sorting or anything.
I think personally, some of our recycling is separate, cause we do have the bin that Keith is talking about,
Mhm.
but, it is one bin, and, I've certainly seen plenty of people that, if the recycling bin's full, they're not gonna take the recycling home with them, they're gonna put it in the empty trash bin or the next town over's recycling bin, they're not gonna
Yeah.
cart it back, especially, Trenton brings their stuff all the way down, they're not gonna take all the back.
Yep.
But, Southwest has the most bins there, so they probably get more overflow
Mhm.
again, but.
So Jesse, what do you wanna cut?
Eric's
That's up to you.
Yeah. What do you have in there for, before we get into how much to take out of our reserves and whatnot? What do you have in there for the safety building, or whatever you call that?
Putting in,
Yeah, adding to.
adding 50, and then you have the 50 on your next item, so it technically would go up by 100.
That's what I was, yeah, okay. I was hoping that it would go up 100. And what's the total on it now? Like 215-ish,
Is-
something like that.
No, it's fire. So the balance.
Watch out, he's got a recorder right here.
So the balance projected balance on June 30th, 2025, this coming June,
Mhm.
279.
279.
So putting in the 50 brings it to 335
Mhm.
the following June, but it would be another 50 if you move down, so 385.
385, okay. Yeah, I just wanna make sure that we're budgeting properly for that, cause we're getting, I think, a fair amount of pressure to get moving on that for multiple reasons. Yeah, that sounds good. I just wanted to be sure that there was a total of 100.
Yep.
Inadvertently, there is.
Yeah, I'll update
Mhm.
the reserve once you make your motion to change the balance.
And there's just a few small things that I thought of for, Public Works. I'm sure it's already, can we just, I know usually we can just purchase out of Public Works stuff. One thing I thought of, I think I mentioned to you before, is about a sander. Is that nothing that we have to budget for, is it? At this point,
No,
like
because
we
we
would.
probably use the truck reserve
Yep,
for it.
okay.
Yep.
Trying
We
to
can
think of
also see,
anything else.
sometimes before the end of June, there can be excess funds in the plow and sander parks line
Yep.
item, so if there's excess funds in there, we should look at staff to put in here.
Yeah, I thought of an idea, Howdy, with, it doesn't have to be now, but, with all of the issues that have seemed to be happening with sanders, if we could get a spare sander. Have it, I don't know how long it takes to swap, it doesn't appear to be that long of a process, when I've messed with them, that, just so that a couple of hoses, swap it out, cause that seemed to be, plows are one thing, we have a spare plow, so they can always get into that, but those sanders seem to be super problematic, and, yeah, just don't buy the same one that we got this last time. We need something a little ruggeder than that.
and how much you put into the solar field each year? Is that not a line item?
20,000. What do we have in that total?
92,540 this June,
Okay.
so with the FY 26 budget, 114.
What was the buyout on that, Kevin?
About 250, I think.
250,
Yeah.
okay.
Somewhere right around there. 248?
No, it's 186.
I thought it was more than that.
Oh, so we're
Oh,
not
so
far
we're
off
close,
on that then.
yeah.
Yep, that's good. Anything else anybody can think of that are things that we aren't thinking of to budget for before we cut stuff? Before we get looking into where we can shave, anything else that's like mandatory? Can't think of anything like we've done.
Nothing new, I guess.
Yeah, I think I think Jesse's done a great job, I think. Can you give me the numbers again, Jesse? What is just the municipal budget percentage? You said it's a 166 increase,
11.3.
Yeah.
11.3, okay. And then the schools is
11.4.
11.4, and we don't even care about what their increase is, cause that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
We're just looking at if we're making about 170,000 interest off from our surplus, then our increase this year was only 166.
Yeah.
And you have roughly, that we under, over, however you wanna put, we have extra supply, I will call it, of money from last year of, 166, right? 204 minus the 38 that,
And then you have to take out the 50.
oh, and then you gotta take up the 50, okay.
Yep. So 160.
116. So if we applied like that 116, to the big number, then that's gonna bring that down to 50,000 increase, which is well more than reasonable, I think. You guys get where I'm getting that number from?
Yeah.
Pop it in and see.
Amazing what a difference an interest rate change makes, huh?
No, then that's exactly what, I mean, if we have interest income of 170,000,
Oh.
we can just use that to keep
Yeah.
helping out with taxes. That's doing nothing but helping everybody out.
Yep.
You don't wanna just pay all of it with that extra interest money?
Well, we don't technically have, that's projected. 170 is projected, not what we physically have
Oh, you're
now.
saying what was
Our-
left over from before was.
The
The
fiscal.
116, yeah.
Yeah, calendar years, which is what we think of, versus fiscal years. I know it throws way, it's hard to see what's what, but basically right now we have an interest income, if I'll say it, of an extra interest income of 116,000. Is that a good way to summarize that?
Yeah, it's more than,
Yeah.
170.
Yep.
So if you pop in 116, it makes the difference, as you said, for the property taxes needed for the municipal budget, 50,687, which is a 3.4% increase.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot better
Bringing
than
your
what-
overall,
Yeah.
the current school budget, your overall increase to 6.7.
And what's that look like numbers wise per 200,000?
An increase of $12.92 a month.
On a $250,000
Yeah.
household.
And I can change that number.
So it's what, 100?
You should change that up to
See,
400, I would say
400.
now.
I would say 400
Yeah.
at least.
'Cause we've-
400 is $20.67 a month.
Yep.
250.
But that's including the school as is,
That's
which
including the school as is.
we know, or we
I anticipate it to
anticipate it
drop,
to be.
not like significantly, but
But a help.
yeah. So it should drop below the 6.7.
That's a month, right? 20. 20 a month is what you said?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
$248 for the year.
But if you look at, I've learned over the appears to try to keep separate the school for now until that comes in. We can finalize it, we can tweak this number more, but just to initially get, kind of, ignore what the schools is and just look at just our municipal, which if it's only a $50,000 increase, 3.4 is, I think that's
That's really
phenomenal.
good.
I think
Yeah.
just, I think
Yeah,
that's,
either five.
Yeah.
yeah. And then once they give us their total there, if it's significantly lower, then it's a home run. If it's not, then we can tweak it more if we have to. But,
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I like that.
yeah, I think that makes it pretty reasonable. We can see what the school looks like and then we'll be able to tell better. $3.4% isn't bad for you, is it, Keith?
Still $1,700 bucks.
That's nothing for you anyways.
What are other towns yet? Have you heard any projected?
Southwest Harbor is currently at 18%.
Yeah.
Lucky me.
Does anybody else back there know what Bar Harbors is? Roughly.
Theirs isn't.
Building it on bond here.
Yeah.
It's below 12.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I thought I saw 11 something.
Yep.
I wanna say Mount Desserts was 6 something. I think.
Okay. Yeah, so I think we're doing a good job.
Right.
Everybody, Jesse's doing a good job. If we can make this 3.4 for now, then that's great.
Yep.
Do you need any motions from us, or what would you like?
If you just wanna make that motion and put in 116,000 of unallocated surplus funds.
Okay. 116.
I make a motion to request the town manager to insert, or to, I guess that's encumber, isn't it? Is that the term you wanna
said
use?
Use.
Okay. Use $116,000 from surplus, which is a municipal part of the budget.
Unallocated surplus. Yeah.
Unallocated surplus, yeah, I gotta write that down.
Mhm.
I'm working on it too much. For the draft fiscal year 26 budget.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to request the town manager to use $116,000 from the unallocated surplus funds balance in the draft for the FY 26 budget. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Good job, Jesse.
Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah.
Okay, next, got too much paperwork for this budget season, but need more real estate up here. Next, we have budget encumbrances. We just talked about, but I'll let you.
Yep, so that's the ones we just talked about, you previously encumbered the 38,000, so you have the 50,000 received from Versant Power for the lease, for the easement lease on the ice rink lot next door, and you had previously indicated that you'd like to put the 50,000 into the public safety building reserve. So if you indeed would like to do that, the proposed motion is there, not the authorization.
I motion to encumber $50,000 from the FY 24 budget to the public safety building reserve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to encumber $50,000 from the FY 24 budget to the public safety building reserve. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All right, next we have town manager's report.
Just a quick one, since we met last week, but finishing the FY 26 budget and
Well, that was short and sweet, Jesse. Alright, let's remove this. All right, suggestions for the next meeting.
I mentioned the composting thing. I don't think it's gonna be ready for the next meeting, but that will be coming.
Okay.
I know there's, Gus from Climate Drive's looking into, getting some information. But that's over $250,000 of solid waste budget. It should put a pretty good chip in that.
Oh, wow,
If we can
nice.
take the compostable stuff out of there, pretty significant amount, I think, so. Hopefully we'll have some information for you soon on that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yep. All right, date of the next meeting.
A motion to confirm the date of the next meeting for Monday, March 10th, 2025 at 5 PM at the town office.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to confirm the date of the next meeting for Monday, March 10th, 2025, 5 PM at the town office. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor? Didn't want to put you on the spot, but I thought you would know that.